Okay, review for your third standard over rational expressions. Now, these first problems, when you're multiplying algebra expressions, again, it's the 1, 2, 3. Now, these problems are always pretty brutal. This one's absolutely insufferable. Well, you're going to have to parenthesize all these expressions because they all include plus and minus. Then you go to your scratch paper, just jot them all down. The ones on top, put on the top two, because those need to go on top. You're multiplying the top by the top, bottom by the bottom. But you don't just multiply. Okay. Then you get 2x squared plus 2x minus 40. Remember, these are both top. Then you got your denominator expressions, 1x to the fourth plus 5x to the third. That's going to be fun. And then 3x to the second minus 15x plus 12. Okay, and then we start factoring. There's two terms. It's GCF DOPS. Remember, sometimes you get rid of a box if it doesn't apply. Okay, my first question, you need the negative? Nope. You need x? Yeah. I mean, we got x connected to both of them, and I take the final x, which is to the second power. 6 and 6 is GCF 6. So we need to divide by 6x to the second. So that's 1. Now if I take x to the third divided by x to the second, I wind up with x still. 6 divided by 6 is 1, but with those x powers being the same, I don't need to put x. Okay, is that adopts this inside expression? No, it can't be. Your x has to be to an even power for it to be adopts. It's not. It's to the first power. So ditch that. So that's what we're putting on top. Okay. 6x to the second, parentheses 1x minus 1. Don't stop there. You got three terms here. GCF-T. GCF negative. Nope. Do you have x on the everything? Nope. 40 doesn't contain x. 2, 2, and 40 have a GCF at 2. So what you need to do is put a 2 here and then put it down there. That will need to be brought over. So you divide all these by 2. That's 1x to the second plus 1x minus 20. Then the ABC is done here. So 1 times negative 20 is negative 20. So it's a difference of 1. That'd be 4 times 5. So plus 5. And then the negative means they have to be the opposite. Now my A is 1. Okay, so that's good. I can just write that as x minus 4 and x plus 5. Okay, now rewrite that over here. 2, x minus 4, x plus 5. Okay, now here, two terms. GCF and DOPS, difference of perfect squares. Don't need the negative. You do need x. You take the x on the final term is to the third, and then 1 and 5 is 1, but it obviously needs to be done because we got to get that x to the third out of there. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 4 third, I would still have x plus 5, and those are the same, so don't leave the x. There's no way that's a DOPS. It's got a plus sign. Okay, so in the bottom, I write 1x to the third, parentheses 1x plus 5. Okay. 3 terms, GCF. And then the T chart. You will not need the negative. You can't have x because that 12 doesn't have it. And 3, 15, and 12 have a greatest common factor of 3. So again, put your 3 out, pull it down here, and then proceed. So it's 1x to the second minus 5x plus 4. Okay, 1 times 4 is 4, so positive 4. So it's a sum of 5. 5 is negative. It's 1 and 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. You got to have minus 4. You got a positive up there, so they have to be the same sign. And your a, again, is just 1x to the second. Okay, so I rewrite that as x minus 1, x minus 4. Okay, so you got 3, x minus 1, x minus 4. Okay, now put that to the side. We'll need the back side of that for a problem later on. Those can go bye-bye. Those can go bye-bye. And those can go bye-bye. So what do you know? I don't have any parentheses. Now you do have outside factors. You got to take the 6 times the 2, which is 12, and put x to the second. You take the 1 times the 3, which is 3, and you got x to the third. You don't take 12 minus 3. The line means it's division, but don't actually divide it. Look up the GCF of 12 and 3, and it's 3. So divide those by 3. It's 4 over 1. Really, you don't even need the 1, but you put it. Delete the x that's to the smaller power, and you minus 2 then from the larger power. It's to the first, so you can just put x if you want, but it's to the first. Done. Okay, next one goes a lot quicker because I would not put parentheses anywhere. Done. So I take 4 times 7, that's 28. And then this is my only x. It is to on top, okay? It is to the second. And then I have my y, which is to the first. 5 times 12 is 60. X to the fourth. And y to the 1. GCF out of 28 and 60 is 4. So divide those each by 4. That's 7. And divided by 4, there's 15. Get the smaller one out minus the other one. That's to the second. Delete those, okay? Because they're to the same power, so we're not going to have y. Okay, next problem's pretty simple. Again, this is a proportion. It can be solved using just ABCD cross products. So I take A times B, that equals C times D. So my A is 3, the B is 5, minus 2x. Okay, and then I got 1 and 2x minus 3. So I distribute, that gives me 15 minus 6x, and that's 2x minus 3. Okay, your x's, get them on the same side. They're both to the first power. So plus 6x plus 6x. So that gives me 15 equals 8x minus 3. Then I add 3, and that's 18. So 18 equals 8x. And then divide by 8. It's a decimal, who cares? Okay. 2.25. That's the only answer. Okay, now the next one, I'm going to need to extend the lines and come up with an LCD on this problem. Now look up top. See if you have to parenthesize anything. You don't, okay? So just drop it down. Even if you do, you don't factor the numerators, just the denominators on these problems. You need parentheses on all your bottoms. So you need to go check to see if those can be factored. So 2x, and see if they need to be rewritten. 2x plus 2, x squared minus 1, and x minus 1. Okay, GCF and DOPS. Negative, don't need. X you can't have. 2 and 2, the GCF's 2 though, so you need to factor out a 2. That becomes 1x or just x plus 1. That is not a difference of perfect squares though, but you do need to rewrite it. 2 parentheses. If it's a 1x, just put x plus 1 so you don't get all screwed up. Okay. X to the second minus 1. Okay. GCF and DOPS. Don't need the negative. Can't do x. 1 and 1's 1, so don't do it. Now that's definitely a DOPS because you have the minus. Your x is to the even power, so x, and then 1, 1, and then 1 and 1. Okay. When you're writing that, just put x plus 1 and x minus 1, though, so you don't get all confused. Then let's talk about x minus 1. Okay, GCF and DOPS. Negative, can't do it. X, no, and then 1. Now, since our x is not even to a power, we don't do DOPS, so I don't do anything with that other than leave it the way it is. Okay. Now, your LCD, you got this outer 2 here we haven't come across. So you got your parentheses of x plus 1, x minus 1, and another x minus 1. But you also have an outside 2, outer 2. X plus 1, 1, 1, 0. X minus 1, 0, 1, 1. So we got to raise that first one by x minus 1. Now, outer 2, you got 1, 0, 0. So just put a 2 out here, but remember to times the top by it. 2 out. I would just times from the front. It doesn't matter where because you're going to use your math papa. Okay. Now, the bottom's all the same, so I can disregard the bottom. Okay. And then equals. Let me get my math papa out. Actually, I can do this in my head. Use your math papa, but this can be 1x plus 9. Okay. That is going to be 2x plus 2. Now, we get an easy break here because we don't have a second power. There's just one answer to this. Get the x's together. I don't need to factor. So 9 is equal to 1x plus 2 minus your 2. 7's 1x. Okay, and then 7's the answer. I don't need to divide by 1. It's 7. Got a nice break there. Okay, there were no x to the second powers with x's, just x's, so collect them. Okay, 2 cars travel for the same amount of time. 1 car travels 300 miles, our other car travels 350 miles. 1 car travels an average speed of 10 miles per hour faster than the other. Find the time the 2 cars travel. Nope, just one answer, my bad. Again, this looks like a distance, speed, time problem. So I got the fast, the slow, the distance, the speed, and the time. Distance is just miles. Actually, we'll do speed first, I guess, if you want. Speed's miles per hour. I see that, but it's faster. Doesn't mean anybody went 10 miles an hour. So x plus 10, x. Okay, the distance traveled, you have 300 and 350. Those are just the miles themselves. Fast went 350, slow went 300. You don't know anything about the times other than the fact they're equal. So you rewrite the time using distance divided by speed. The distance goes in the numerator, the speed goes in the denominator. You can't have that flip. Division is not commutative. You have to put it in the right order. Okay, so you have 350 over x plus 10 equal to the 300 over x, and you have an easy proportion. A, B, C, D. Okay, so A is 350, B is X, C is 300, and then we have X plus 10. Okay, so you're going to have 350X on that side. Then 300X plus 3,000. 300 plus 10 is 3,000. 300 times 10, my bad. Minus your X's. And over there I got 50X equals 3,000. Then divide 50. It's going to be 60, but you don't want to put that, okay? X is 60, but that's your speed for this car, okay? To find the time, take 300 divided by 60, and that's 5. Or the other one, 350 divided by 70, because 60 plus 10 is 70, and that's 5 too. So you get both. Okay, number 5. So far you have made 20 of 40 free throws. How many consecutive free throws do I need to make to have an average of 60%? So average, I use proportions. There's the average I want, and there's the average I currently have. Okay, I want 60% out of 100%. But right now I have 20 out of 40. And these percents you don't need to write as decimals. When you put the 100 over it, you're fine, okay? Just put it over 100. Now that's 50%, so I need to add to the number of points, but that then adds to how many, or the free throws, but then that adds to how many have been attempted. Again, it's A, B, C, D, because there's just 2. So A is 60, B is 40 plus 1x. C is 20 plus 1x, and D is 100. Okay, distribute 2,400 plus 60x. And then over here I distribute 100. That's going to be 2,000 plus 100x. Minus your x's. That's 40x. Then you subtract the 2,000, and that's 400. Divide by 40, and I get 10. Okay, so we got to make our next 10 free throws, which makes sense because that would be 30 out of 50, which is 60%. Okay, 2 more. 2 people working together paint 2 houses in 5 hours. One person paints twice as fast as the other. How long would it take each person to paint the houses working separately? So I get houses in hours. Again, hours is the independent. Houses is the dependent. So houses per hour. Yeah, I don't know that. Okay, maybe I don't need to know it. Yeah, I probably don't, because if you remember, B is a Y value houses before you have any hours, and there's no way you would have any houses painted without working, okay? So it's direct variation, which means I can use a proportion to solve it. But I need 2 added together because you got 2 people separately and then together. Remember to put your hours on the bottom. Okay, I don't care. You got to put the hours on bottom. So 2 and 5 is together. Okay. Now working separately, they'd still have 2 houses to paint. So we keep that constantly at 2, but the hours obviously would not be the same. It'd take them longer than 5. We don't know them, but we know one person goes twice as fast. Okay. Well, now you can't use A, B, C, D. You're going to need to extend the line and come up with your lowest common denominator. And you don't have any parentheses. It's all outer factors. You have outer x, outer 2. Remember, there's no such thing as 2x, okay? It's outer 2 and outer x. Those are separate factors. 1, 1, 0. So I'll multiply by x. Outer 2, 0, 1, 0. So multiply those by 2 and by 2. Okay, outer 5, 0, 0, 1. Okay, remember to times it on top. Whoa, whoops, I did it here. I should have done it down here. Who cares? Okay, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I should have been doing that down here. I should have dropped everything down. I'm sorry about that. So that's what we drop down, and then it's all the same. Outer 2 times, because that's how I've been doing it, so I don't want to throw a curveball. So times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Okay. All right, now here you can just use a regular calculator. 2 times 2 times 5 plus 2 times 5. I got 30. And over here, that's 4x divided by 4, and that's 7.5. So that's the faster person, and then the other person's just twice more than that, which should be 15. Times it by 2. Okay, then the last problem. You ride your bike to a store 4 miles away to pick up things for dinner. There's no wind, you ride 10 miles per hour. Remember, that's a speed. Today, your trip to the store and back took 1 hour. What was the speed of the wind today? Distance is miles without the per hour. It's 4 miles there and 4 back to get 8. Then I can forget about that. Speed is in miles per hour. You start with the 10. Don't write the X first, okay? Then when I go with the wind, it adds X to the, because I don't know how fast the wind's blowing. But when I go back, it slows me down. Okay, the time there was 1 hour. No, you can't divide that by 2 because it's going to be longer one way than it is with the other. Now, what I do is rewrite this as my distance over speed. Okay. 4 over 10 plus x and 10 minus x. And then I have my equation. These 2 plus equals 1. Now the 1 again is on top. All right, so you want to extend your lines. You don't need to do any factoring. You drop the bottoms down, the tops down. And then these cannot be factored. They do need to be in parentheses though, because they do have pluses and minuses. Okay, so my LCD is 10 plus x and 10 minus x. 10 plus x, 1, 0, 0. Ten minus x is 0, 1, 0. And then out of all this junk, I know I can get rid of the bottoms. Okay. Now use your Math Papa. Okay. This side is going to give you 80 from Math Papa. This side is going to give you negative x squared, which means you put a 1 in front of the x squared, plus 100. Don't ask me how I do that in my head. Okay, you need to use Math Papa. Okay. Now I get x squared by itself. I just minus 100, which gives me negative 20. And then I divide by negative 1, which is 20. And then I find the square root of 20. 20 is going to be our irrational answer. So 4.47.